Modern life is a whirlwind of distractions, pressures, and endless demands. We're constantly chasing success, validation, and happiness, yet so many of us feel lost, overwhelmed, or disconnected from who we truly are. What if the key to living authentically, to finding peace and purpose, has been waiting for us for over 2,000 years? Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that offers timeless wisdom for navigating the chaos of today's world. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or living a life of austerity. It's about understanding what truly matters, focusing on what you can control, and aligning your actions with your deepest values. In this video, we'll explore 30 Stoic rules for living authentically, principles that have guided philosophers, leaders, and everyday people for centuries. These rules aren't just theoretical ideas, they're practical tools you can use to build resilience, find clarity, and live a life that feels genuine and meaningful. Whether you're new to Stoicism or already familiar with its teachings, this video will give you actionable insights to transform how you approach challenges, relationships, and even your own thoughts. So, if you're ready to step away from the noise of modern life and discover a path to authenticity, keep watching. By the end, you'll have a roadmap to living with intention, courage, and inner peace. Let's dive in. Now, let's begin with the first Stoic rule, a cornerstone of living authentically. Focus on what you can control. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that much of what happens in life is beyond our control: external events, other people's actions, even the weather. But what we can control is how we respond to these things. Our thoughts, our choices, and our actions are entirely within our power. This simple yet profound distinction is the key to reducing anxiety and living a life that feels genuine and aligned with our values. Think about it. When we waste energy worrying about things we can't change, we feel powerless and overwhelmed. But when we shift our focus to what we can influence, our own attitudes, decisions, and efforts, we regain a sense of agency. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic. You can't control the cars around you or the delay, but you can control how you react. Instead of letting frustration take over, you might use the time to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or simply practice patience. This mindset doesn't just reduce stress, it helps you stay true to yourself, even in challenging situations. Stoicism teaches us to let go of the illusion that we can control everything. By accepting what's outside our power and focusing on what's within it, we free ourselves from unnecessary worry and create space for authenticity. This rule isn't about giving up, it's about channeling your energy where it truly matters. When you live this way, you'll find that life becomes less about reacting to external chaos and more about creating inner peace. Next, we'll explore how accepting what we cannot change further strengthens this Stoic approach to living authentically. Now let's move to the second Stoic rule, accepting what you cannot change. This principle builds on the foundation of focusing on what's within your control, but it takes it a step further by teaching us how to respond to the things we can't influence. The Stoics believed that resisting or fighting against what's outside our power only leads to frustration and suffering. Instead, they advocated for acceptance not as a form of resignation, but as a way to cultivate resilience and inner peace. Take Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, as an example. Born into slavery, he faced circumstances that were entirely beyond his control. Yet he famously taught that while we can't always choose what happens to us, we can choose how we respond. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This mindset allowed him to rise above his circumstances and focus on what he could control: his thoughts, his character, and his actions. Think about how this applies to your own life. Maybe you've experienced a setback at work, a health issue, or even a global event that disrupted your plans. These are things you can't change, no matter how much you wish you could. But by practicing acceptance, you free yourself from the emotional weight of resistance. Instead of dwelling on the unfairness of the situation, you can focus on how to adapt, grow, and move forward. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring or trying. It means you stop wasting energy on what's beyond your reach. When you embrace this Stoic rule, you'll find that life's challenges become easier to navigate. You'll feel less burdened by external events and more empowered by your ability to respond with grace and resilience. Next, we'll explore how embracing discomfort, another key Stoic practice, can further strengthen your ability to live authentically and with purpose. Now, let's turn our attention to the third Stoic rule, practicing voluntary discomfort. This might sound counterintuitive at first. Why would anyone willingly choose discomfort? But the Stoics, particularly Seneca, saw immense value in stepping outside our comfort zones. They believed that by intentionally facing challenges and embracing hardship, we not only build resilience but also cultivate a deeper sense of gratitude for what we have. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, often wrote about the importance of simplicity and self-discipline. He encouraged people to periodically strip away life's luxuries and comforts, not as a punishment, but as a way to remind ourselves that we don't need them to be happy. He said, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" This practice of voluntary discomfort isn't about suffering for its own sake. It's about training yourself to be adaptable, to find contentment even in less than ideal circumstances. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. The more you expose yourself to small, manageable challenges, the better equipped you'll be to handle life's inevitable difficulties. For example, you might try fasting for a day to appreciate the food you usually take for granted. Or you could take a cold shower to remind yourself that discomfort is temporary and survivable. These small acts of self-discipline help you build mental toughness and a greater appreciation for the comforts you enjoy every day. By embracing discomfort, you also free yourself from the fear of losing what you have. When you've experienced hardship voluntarily, you realize that you can handle it if it comes your way. This mindset shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already possess, fostering a sense of gratitude and inner peace. Next, we'll explore how living in accordance with nature, another core Stoic principle, can help you align your actions with your true values and live a more authentic life. Now, let's shift our focus to the fourth Stoic rule, living in accordance with nature. This principle might sound abstract at first, but at its core, it's about aligning your actions with the natural order of the world and your own true nature. The Stoics believed that everything in the universe operates according to a rational, interconnected system, and by understanding and embracing this, we can live more authentically and harmoniously. To live in accordance with nature means to recognize your role within the larger framework of existence. It's about understanding what is truly within your control, your thoughts, choices, and actions, and letting go of what isn't. The Stoics saw this as a path to inner peace, as it allows you to stop resisting the flow of life and instead work with it. Think of it like a tree. A tree doesn't fight against the wind. It bends and adapts, growing stronger in the process. Similarly, when we align ourselves with nature, we learn to accept life's challenges and changes without unnecessary struggle. This doesn't mean we become passive, far from it. Instead, it's about taking purposeful action while staying grounded in what is real and true. For example, consider how you approach your daily responsibilities. Are you trying to force outcomes that are beyond your control, or are you focusing on doing your best with what you have? Living in accordance with nature means accepting that some things are simply outside your influence, and that's okay. What matters is how you respond with integrity, effort, and a clear sense of purpose. The Stoics also believed that living authentically means staying true to your own nature. This involves understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and values, and making choices that reflect who you truly are. When you act in harmony with your inner self, you experience a sense of alignment and fulfillment that external circumstances can't disrupt. By embracing this principle, you cultivate a deeper connection to the world around you and to yourself. You stop chasing after things that don't truly matter and start focusing on what brings you genuine peace and satisfaction. Next, we'll explore how cultivating virtue, another cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, can guide you toward a life of authenticity and purpose. Now, let's turn our attention to the fifth Stoic rule, cultivating virtue above all else. For the Stoics, virtue wasn't just a lofty ideal, it was the foundation of a meaningful and authentic life. They identified four core virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're practical tools that can guide your decisions, actions, and ultimately, your character. Wisdom, the first virtue, is about seeing the world clearly and making thoughtful choices. It's the ability to discern what truly matters and act accordingly. Think of wisdom as your inner compass, helping you navigate life's complexities with clarity and purpose. When you cultivate wisdom, you stop reacting impulsively and start responding with intention. Next is courage, which goes beyond physical bravery. Stoic courage is about facing life's challenges with resilience and integrity. It's standing firm in your values even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. Whether it's confronting a fear, speaking your truth, or persevering through adversity, courage allows you to live authentically even in the face of uncertainty. Justice, the third virtue, is about fairness and treating others with respect and kindness. The Stoics believed that we're all part of a larger community, and our actions should reflect that interconnectedness. Practicing justice means acting with empathy, standing up for what's right, and contributing to the well-being of others. It's a reminder that living authentically isn't just about you, it's about how you impact the world around you. Finally, temperance is the virtue of self-control and moderation. It's about finding balance in all areas of life, whether it's managing your desires, emotions, or habits. Temperance helps you avoid excess and stay aligned with your true values. By practicing moderation, you free yourself from the distractions of overindulgence and focus on what truly matters. Together, these four virtues form a roadmap for authentic living. They're not about perfection but progress, small, consistent steps toward becoming the best version of yourself. When you cultivate wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, you create a life that's not only meaningful but deeply fulfilling. As we move forward, we'll explore how daily reflection can help you align your actions with these virtues and live more authentically. Now let's shift our focus to the sixth Stoic rule, reflecting daily on your actions. This practice, often referred to as evening reflection or journaling, is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's not just about looking back on your day. It's about actively evaluating your behavior, decisions, and thoughts to ensure they align with Stoic principles. The Stoics believed that self-reflection is essential for growth. By taking time each evening to review your day, you create an opportunity to learn from your experiences and make adjustments where needed. Think of it as a daily audit of your character. Did you act with wisdom? Did you show courage in the face of challenges? Were you fair and just in your interactions? Did you practice temperance in your desires and emotions? These are the questions that guide this practice. Evening reflection isn't about self-criticism or dwelling on mistakes. It's about honest self-assessment and progress. For example, if you lost your temper during a conversation, reflect on what triggered it and how you might respond differently next time. If you acted with kindness or integrity, acknowledge that and consider how you can build on it. The goal is to cultivate awareness and intentionality in your actions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, was a strong advocate of this practice. His personal writings, now known as meditations, were essentially a collection of his reflections. Through this habit, he held himself accountable and continuously worked to align his actions with his values. You don't need to write a masterpiece. Just a few honest notes can make a profound difference. This practice also helps you detach from the chaos of daily life and reconnect with what truly matters. In a world filled with distractions, evening reflection provides a quiet moment to center yourself and focus on your growth. It's a way to ensure that you're not just going through the motions but actively living in accordance with Stoic virtues. As we move forward, we'll explore how embracing impermanence can deepen your understanding of living authentically and help you appreciate the present moment even more. Now, let's turn our attention to the seventh Stoic rule, embracing impermanence. This principle is deeply rooted in the Stoic concept of memento mori, a Latin phrase that translates to "remember you must die." At first glance, it might sound morbid, but the Stoics saw it as a powerful tool for living authentically and fully. The idea is simple yet profound. Life is fleeting, and everything we have, our time, relationships, and even our own existence, is temporary. By keeping this truth in mind, we're reminded to value the present moment and make the most of the time we have. It's not about dwelling on death, but about using the awareness of impermanence to prioritize what truly matters. Think about it. How often do we get caught up in trivial worries or postpone what's important because we assume we'll have more time? Memento mori challenges that assumption. It asks us to reflect on the fact that life is unpredictable and that every day is a gift. This mindset shifts our focus from chasing fleeting pleasures or external validation to living in alignment with our values and cherishing the people and experiences that bring meaning to our lives. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this concept in his writings. He reminded himself that even the most powerful emperor would one day be dust, and that thought helped him stay grounded and focused on what was within his control. Similarly, Seneca wrote about how remembering the brevity of life can inspire us to stop procrastinating and start living with purpose. Embracing impermanence also helps us let go of attachments that don't serve us. Whether it's material possessions, grudges, or the fear of failure, recognizing that nothing lasts forever can free us from unnecessary burdens. It encourages us to live more lightly, with gratitude for what we have and acceptance of what we cannot change. This practice isn't about living in fear, but about living with intention. When we remember that our time is limited, we're more likely to act with courage, kindness, and authenticity. It's a reminder to stop waiting for the perfect moment and to start making the most of the one we're in. As we move forward, we'll explore how avoiding complaints can further strengthen our ability to live authentically and proactively. Now, let's shift our focus to the eighth Stoic rule, avoiding complaints. This principle is all about redirecting our energy from what's wrong to what we can do to make things better. Stoicism teaches us that complaining doesn't solve problems. It only amplifies frustration and keeps us stuck in a cycle of negativity. Instead, the Stoics encourage us to focus on solutions, fostering a proactive and authentic mindset. Think about it. How often do we vent about things we can't control? Whether it's traffic, a difficult coworker, or an unexpected setback, complaining might feel cathartic in the moment, but it rarely leads to meaningful change. Stoicism challenges us to ask ourselves, what can I do about this situation? This shift in perspective empowers us to take action rather than dwell on what's beyond our control. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it simply, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He believed that our power lies in our response, not in the external events themselves. By choosing not to complain, we reclaim our agency and focus on what we can influence. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is fine. It means approaching challenges with a constructive mindset. For example, imagine you're stuck in a long line at the grocery store. Instead of grumbling about the wait, you could use that time to reflect on your day, practice patience, or even strike up a friendly conversation with someone nearby. This small shift transforms a frustrating moment into an opportunity for growth or connection. It's about finding value in every situation, no matter how inconvenient it may seem. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the importance of this practice. he reminded himself that complaining was a waste of energy, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. By focusing on our inner response rather than external circumstances, we cultivate resilience and authenticity. We stop being victims of our environment and start becoming architects of our own experience. Avoiding complaints also strengthens our relationships. When we choose to address issues calmly and constructively, rather than venting or blaming, we create a more positive and collaborative atmosphere. This approach not only benefits us but also inspires those around us to adopt a similar mindset. Ultimately, this Stoic rule is about taking responsibility for our thoughts and actions. It's a reminder that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. By focusing on solutions rather than complaints, we foster a proactive, authentic, and empowered way of living. Next, we'll explore how being mindful of our desires can help us live more authentically, ensuring that our actions align with our true values. Now, let's turn our attention to the 9th Stoic rule, being mindful of your desires. This principle invites us to examine what we truly want and why we want it. Stoicism teaches that unchecked desires can pull us away from living authentically, often leading us to chase things that don't align with our deeper values. Instead, the Stoics encourage moderation and self-awareness, helping us focus on what truly matters. Think about the things we often desire: more money, a better job, or the latest gadgets. While these aren't inherently bad, the problem arises when we let these desires control us. When we're constantly chasing external validation or material possessions, we risk losing sight of who we are and what we truly value. Stoicism reminds us that true fulfillment doesn't come from accumulating more, but from aligning our desires with our inner principles. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, warned that unchecked desires can enslave us. He said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In other words, when we let our desires dictate our actions, we give away our freedom. By practicing moderation, we regain control over our lives and make choices that reflect our authentic selves. Consider this. Imagine you're scrolling through social media and you see someone living what appears to be a perfect life. It's easy to feel a pang of envy or desire for what they have, but Stoicism challenges us to pause and ask, do I truly want this, or am I just caught up in comparison? This moment of self-awareness can help us break free from the cycle of endless wanting and focus on what genuinely brings us peace and satisfaction. Marcus Aurelius also reflected on the dangers of unchecked desires. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If our thoughts are consumed by what we lack, our soul, our inner self, becomes restless and discontent." But when we cultivate gratitude for what we have and focus on our own growth, we create a sense of inner harmony. This shift allows us to live more authentically, guided by our values rather than fleeting desires. Being mindful of our desires also means recognizing the difference between needs and wants. Stoicism doesn't ask us to abandon all desires, but to approach them with clarity and intention. For example, wanting to improve your skills or deepen your relationships is a healthy desire because it aligns with personal growth and connection. On the other hand, chasing status or possessions for the sake of appearances often leads to emptiness. This Stoic rule isn't about denying ourselves joy, but about choosing wisely. It's about understanding that true happiness comes from within, not from external achievements or possessions. By practicing moderation and self-awareness, we free ourselves from the endless pursuit of more and instead focus on living a life that feels genuine and fulfilling. Next, we'll explore the importance of practicing gratitude and how it helps us appreciate what we already have, fostering a deeper sense of authenticity and contentment. Now let's shift our focus to the 10th Stoic rule, practicing gratitude. This principle is all about appreciating what we already have rather than constantly yearning for what we lack. Gratitude, in the Stoic sense, isn't just a fleeting feeling, it's a deliberate practice that helps us cultivate contentment and live more authentically. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, often reflected on the power of gratitude in his personal writings, known as meditations. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words remind us that even the simplest aspects of life are gifts worth acknowledging. By starting each day with gratitude, we set the tone for a mindset that values what we have rather than fixating on what we don't. But why is gratitude so important in Stoicism? It's because gratitude shifts our perspective. When we focus on what we're thankful for, we naturally become less preoccupied with external desires or comparisons. Think about it. How often do we take things like our health, relationships, or even the ability to learn and grow for granted? Stoicism teaches us to pause and recognize these blessings, no matter how small they may seem. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic. It's easy to feel frustrated or annoyed, but what if you used that time to reflect on something you're grateful for, like having a car to drive, a job to go to, or even the opportunity to listen to your favorite podcast? This simple shift in mindset can transform a mundane or stressful moment into one of appreciation and peace. Gratitude also helps us build resilience. Life is full of challenges, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed when things don't go as planned. But when we practice gratitude, we remind ourselves of the good that still exists even in difficult times. Marcus Aurelius put it this way: "What stands in the way becomes the way." By focusing on what we're grateful for, we can find strength and clarity to navigate obstacles with a sense of purpose. Another key aspect of Stoic gratitude is its connection to humility. When we appreciate what we have, we acknowledge that much of it comes from sources beyond ourselves, whether it's the support of others, the opportunities life has given us, or even the natural world around us. This humility keeps us grounded and helps us avoid the trap of entitlement or arrogance. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring life's difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it's about finding balance. Stoicism encourages us to face challenges head-on while also recognizing the good that coexists alongside them. This balanced perspective allows us to live authentically, guided by a sense of appreciation rather than dissatisfaction. So, how can we incorporate gratitude into our daily lives? Start small. Each day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand. It could be as simple as a kind word from a friend, a beautiful sunset, or even a moment of quiet reflection. Over time, this practice can help you develop a deeper sense of contentment and align your actions with your true values. As we move forward, we'll explore how detaching from external outcomes can further enhance our ability to live authentically, focusing on what truly matters within our control. Now, let's turn our attention to the 11th Stoic rule, detaching from external outcomes. This principle is about shifting our focus from the results we can't control to the efforts we can. In Stoicism, the idea is simple but profound. What truly matters is not the outcome of our actions, but the intention and effort behind them. By focusing on what we can control, our own actions, choices, and attitudes, we free ourselves from the anxiety of unpredictable results and cultivate a deeper sense of authenticity and inner peace. Think about it this way: life is full of uncertainties. No matter how hard we work or how carefully we plan, there will always be factors beyond our control. Stoicism teaches us to accept this reality and to invest our energy in what we can influence: our own behavior and mindset. For example, imagine you're preparing for a job interview. You can research the company, practice your answers, and present yourself confidently, but you can't control whether the interviewer will choose you over someone else. By focusing on doing your best rather than obsessing over the outcome, you reduce stress and maintain a sense of integrity regardless of the result. This principle is deeply rooted in the teachings of Epictetus, who famously said, "Some things are within our power while others are not." He encouraged his students to focus on their own actions and attitudes, recognizing that external outcomes are often dictated by circumstances outside their control. When we detach from these outcomes, we stop tying our self-worth to things like success, approval, or material gains. Instead, we find value in the effort itself, knowing that we've acted in alignment with our principles. Detaching from external outcomes doesn't mean we stop caring about results altogether. It simply means we don't let them define us. For instance, if you're working on a creative project, you might pour your heart into it, but the reception it receives is ultimately out of your hands. Stoicism teaches us to take pride in the work we've done, regardless of how it's received. This mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also allows us to approach challenges with greater resilience and creativity. Another benefit of this practice is that it helps us stay grounded in the present moment. When we're not fixated on future outcomes, we can fully engage with what we're doing right now. This presence of mind not only enhances our performance, but also enriches our experience of life. It's about finding joy in the process rather than waiting for some distant reward. So, how can we apply this rule in our daily lives? Start by setting intentions rather than expectations. When you begin a task, focus on what you want to achieve through your effort, not on the result you hope to see. For example, if you're studying for an exam, concentrate on understanding the material and doing your best, rather than worrying about the grade you'll receive. This shift in focus can make a world of difference in how you approach challenges and setbacks. Detaching from external outcomes also means embracing failure as part of the journey. Stoicism teaches us that setbacks are not reflections of our worth but opportunities for growth. When we stop fearing failure, we become more willing to take risks and pursue our goals with authenticity and courage. As we move forward, we'll explore how treating others with kindness aligns with Stoic principles and further enhances our ability to live authentically. By focusing on our own actions and attitudes, we not only find inner peace but also create a positive impact on the world around us. Now, let's explore the 12th Stoic rule, treating others with kindness. This principle is rooted in the Stoic belief in universal brotherhood, the idea that all humans are connected and share a common nature. For the Stoics, kindness wasn't just a moral obligation, it was a way of living authentically, in harmony with the world and with ourselves. When we treat others with compassion and respect, we align our actions with the Stoic virtues of justice and wisdom, fostering deeper connections and a sense of purpose. Think about it this way: every interaction we have is an opportunity to practice kindness. Whether it's a simple act of holding the door for someone or offering support to a friend in need, these moments reflect our values and shape our character. Stoicism teaches us that how we treat others is a direct reflection of our inner state. If we approach others with patience and understanding, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and authenticity. On the other hand, if we act out of anger or selfishness, we create discord within ourselves and in our relationships. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, often reflected on the importance of kindness in his personal writings. He reminded himself to see others as fellow travelers on the same journey, facing similar struggles and challenges. By recognizing our shared humanity, we can approach others with empathy rather than judgment. This perspective not only helps us build stronger relationships, but also reinforces our commitment to living authentically. Treating others with kindness also means practicing forgiveness. Stoicism teaches us that people often act out of ignorance or misunderstanding, not malice. When someone wrongs us, instead of reacting with anger, we can choose to respond with understanding and compassion. This doesn't mean we ignore harmful behavior, but rather that we address it with a calm and rational mindset. By doing so, we maintain our integrity and avoid being consumed by negative emotions. Another aspect of this rule is the importance of humility. Stoicism encourages us to recognize that we are not superior to others, regardless of our achievements or status. True authenticity comes from seeing ourselves as equals, deserving of the same respect and kindness we extend to others. This humility allows us to connect more deeply with those around us and to live in alignment with our values. So, how can we apply this rule in our daily lives? Start by practicing small acts of kindness every day. Smile at a stranger, offer a helping hand, or simply listen when someone needs to talk. These actions may seem small, but they have a ripple effect, creating a more compassionate and connected world. Additionally, when faced with conflict, take a moment to pause and reflect before responding. Ask yourself how you can approach the situation with kindness and understanding rather than reacting impulsively. Treating others with kindness also means being kind to ourselves. Stoicism teaches us that self-compassion is essential for living authentically. When we make mistakes or face challenges, we should treat ourselves with the same patience and understanding we would offer a friend. This self-kindness allows us to grow and learn without being weighed down by guilt or self-criticism. As we move forward, we'll delve into how avoiding gossip and judgment aligns with Stoic principles and further enhances our ability to live authentically. By treating others with kindness, we not only create a positive impact on the world around us, but also cultivate a deeper sense of inner harmony and purpose. Now, let's shift our focus to the 13th Stoic rule, avoiding gossip and judgment. This principle is deeply rooted in the Stoic belief that our energy is best spent on self-improvement rather than criticizing others. When we engage in gossip or pass judgment, we not only distract ourselves from our own growth, but also create unnecessary negativity in our lives. Stoicism teaches us that true authenticity comes from looking inward and working on ourselves, rather than focusing on the flaws of others. Think about it this way: every moment we spend judging someone else is a moment we could have used to reflect on our own actions and choices. The Stoics believed that by focusing on self-improvement, we cultivate humility and a deeper understanding of our own imperfections. This doesn't mean we ignore harmful behavior or avoid holding others accountable when necessary. Instead, it means we approach these situations with a calm and rational mindset, free from the emotional weight of judgment or gossip. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often emphasized the importance of self-awareness. He taught that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. When we resist the urge to gossip or judge, we take responsibility for our own thoughts and actions, aligning ourselves with the Stoic virtues of wisdom and temperance. This practice not only helps us live more authentically, but also fosters a sense of inner peace and clarity. Avoiding gossip and judgment also strengthens our relationships. When we refrain from speaking negatively about others, we build trust and respect with those around us. People are more likely to feel comfortable and valued in our presence when they know we won't engage in harmful talk. This creates a positive environment where authentic connections can thrive. Additionally, by focusing on our own growth, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of self-improvement and mutual respect. So, how can we apply this rule in our daily lives? Start by becoming more mindful of your words and thoughts. When you catch yourself about to gossip or judge, pause and ask yourself why. Is it out of habit, insecurity, or frustration? Use that moment to redirect your focus inward. Reflect on how you can improve yourself instead of criticizing others. This simple shift in perspective can have a profound impact on your mindset and behavior. Another practical step is to practice empathy. When you feel tempted to judge someone, try to understand their perspective. Remember that everyone is fighting their own battles, and we often don't know the full story behind someone's actions. By approaching others with compassion rather than judgment, we not only avoid unnecessary negativity, but also deepen our own sense of empathy and understanding. As we continue, we'll explore how seeking wisdom over approval aligns with Stoic principles and further enhances our ability to live authentically. By avoiding gossip and judgment, we create space for self-reflection and growth, fostering a life of humility, authenticity, and inner harmony. Now, let's turn our attention to the 14th Stoic rule, seeking wisdom, not approval. This principle challenges us to prioritize truth and self-respect over the fleeting satisfaction of external validation. In a world where likes, followers, and opinions often dictate our sense of worth, Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective. It reminds us that true fulfillment comes from within, not from the approval of others. Epictetus, a towering figure in Stoic philosophy, often spoke about the dangers of seeking external validation. He taught that when we base our self-worth on the opinions of others, we give away our power and become slaves to their judgments. Instead, he urged his students to focus on cultivating wisdom and living in alignment with their own values. This shift in focus allows us to build a solid foundation of self-respect, one that isn't easily shaken by external praise or criticism. Think about it. How often do we alter our behavior or suppress our true selves just to fit in or gain approval? The Stoics believed that this habit not only erodes our authenticity, but also distracts us from what truly matters, our own growth and understanding. By seeking wisdom, we learn to value the truth of who we are and the principles we stand for, rather than chasing the ever-changing opinions of others. This doesn't mean we should ignore constructive feedback or isolate ourselves from others. Rather, it's about discerning whose opinions truly matter and why. The Stoics encouraged us to surround ourselves with people who challenge us to grow and to seek guidance from those who embody wisdom and virtue. But even then, the ultimate judge of our actions should be our own conscience, not the applause or disapproval of the crowd. One practical way to apply this rule is to regularly reflect on your motivations. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it aligns with my values, or am I doing it to gain approval? This simple question can help you stay grounded in your authenticity. Another approach is to practice self-compassion. When you make a mistake or face criticism, remind yourself that your worth isn't determined by external validation. Instead, focus on what you can learn from the experience and how you can grow. By seeking wisdom over approval, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of people-pleasing and comparison. We learn to trust our own judgment and live with integrity even when it's unpopular. This practice not only strengthens our sense of self, but also deepens our connection to the Stoic virtues of wisdom and courage. It's a powerful reminder that the path to authenticity lies not in the approval of others, but in the pursuit of truth and self-respect. As we move forward, we'll explore how embracing challenges as opportunities aligns with Stoic principles and further enhances our ability to live authentically. By valuing wisdom over approval, we take a significant step toward a life of clarity, purpose, and inner peace. Now, let's shift our focus to the 15th Stoic rule, embracing challenges as opportunities. Life is full of obstacles, and how we respond to them often defines our character. Stoicism teaches us to see these challenges not as setbacks, but as opportunities for growth. This mindset shift is at the heart of living authentically, as it allows us to face adversity with resilience and purpose. The Stoics believed that every challenge, no matter how difficult, carries within it the potential for growth. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, often reflected on this idea. He saw obstacles as a natural part of life, something to be expected rather than feared. In his writings, he encouraged himself, and by extension, us, to view difficulties as a chance to practice virtue, to strengthen our resolve, and to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Think about a time when you faced a significant challenge. Perhaps it was a personal loss, a professional setback, or a moment of self-doubt. In those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or defeated. But Stoicism invites us to ask a different question. What can I learn from this? How can this experience help me grow? By reframing the situation, we transform it from a source of pain into a source of strength. This doesn't mean that challenges become easy or that we should ignore the emotions they bring. Stoicism isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about managing them wisely. When we embrace challenges as opportunities, we acknowledge the difficulty while also recognizing the potential for growth. This balanced approach helps us stay grounded and focused even in the face of adversity. One practical way to apply this rule is to practice what the Stoics called amor fati, or the love of fate. This concept encourages us to accept and even embrace everything that happens to us, good or bad, as an essential part of our journey. By doing so, we stop resisting life's challenges and start seeing them as valuable lessons. For example, if you lose a job, instead of dwelling on the loss, you might focus on the opportunity to explore new career paths or develop new skills. Another approach is to break challenges into smaller, manageable steps. When faced with a daunting obstacle, it's easy to feel paralyzed, but by taking one step at a time, we build momentum and confidence. Each small victory becomes a reminder of our resilience and ability to overcome adversity. This method not only makes challenges more manageable, but also reinforces our belief in our own strength. Embracing challenges as opportunities also aligns closely with the Stoic virtues of courage and wisdom. It takes courage to face difficulties head-on, and it takes wisdom to see the potential for growth within them. By practicing this rule, we cultivate both virtues, strengthening our character and deepening our authenticity. As we continue our exploration of Stoic principles, we'll see how this mindset of embracing challenges ties into the broader goal of living authentically. By viewing obstacles as opportunities, we not only build resilience but also create a life that is rich with meaning and purpose. This perspective reminds us that every challenge, no matter how tough, is a stepping stone on the path to becoming our best selves. Now let's turn our attention to the 16th Stoic rule, practicing self-discipline. At its core, self-discipline is about aligning our actions with our values, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. For the Stoics, this wasn't just a matter of willpower, it was a fundamental part of living authentically. When we exercise self-control, we ensure that our choices reflect who we truly are, rather than being driven by fleeting impulses or external pressures. The Stoics believed that self-discipline is essential for cultivating virtue and maintaining inner peace. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, often emphasized the importance of mastering our desires and impulses. He taught that true freedom comes not from doing whatever we want, but from being in control of ourselves. By practicing self-discipline, we free ourselves from the chaos of unchecked emotions and desires, allowing us to live in harmony with our principles. Think about the small, everyday choices we make. Do we reach for unhealthy food when we're stressed, even though we value health? Do we procrastinate on important tasks despite valuing productivity? These moments may seem insignificant, but they add up over time, shaping the kind of life we lead. Self-discipline helps us bridge the gap between what we value and how we act, ensuring that our behavior aligns with our deepest beliefs. One practical way to build self-discipline is to start with small, manageable habits. For example, if you want to cultivate patience, you might practice waiting a few extra seconds before responding in a conversation. If you're working on focus, you could set a timer for a short period and commit to working without distractions. These small acts of self-control strengthen our ability to make intentional choices, even in more challenging situations. Another key aspect of self-discipline is learning to say no. In a world filled with distractions and temptations, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. The Stoics remind us that saying no to things that don't align with our values creates space for what does. This might mean declining social invitations when we need time to recharge, or resisting the urge to buy things we don't truly need. Each time we say no, we reinforce our commitment to living authentically. Self-discipline also plays a crucial role in managing our emotions. When we feel anger, frustration, or fear, it's tempting to react impulsively. But Stoicism teaches us to pause and reflect before acting. By practicing self-control in these moments, we give ourselves the opportunity to respond thoughtfully rather than being swept away by emotion. This not only helps us stay true to our values but also strengthens our relationships with others. Ultimately, self-discipline is about creating a life that reflects who we are and what we stand for. It's not about perfection or rigid self-denial, but about making choices that align with our highest ideals. When we practice self-discipline, we take ownership of our lives, shaping them in ways that are meaningful and fulfilling. This is the essence of living authentically, being true to ourselves in every action, no matter how small. As we continue to explore the Stoic rules for living authentically, we'll see how self-discipline connects to other principles such as courage, wisdom, and resilience. By mastering self-control, we not only strengthen our character but also create a foundation for a life of purpose and integrity. This practice reminds us that every choice we make is an opportunity to live in alignment with our values, bringing us closer to the person we aspire to be. Now let's shift our focus to the 17th Stoic rule, letting go of anger. Anger, while a natural emotion, can often cloud our judgment and lead us away from living authentically. The Stoics understood that anger, if left unchecked, could disrupt our inner peace and damage our relationships. Instead of allowing anger to control us, they offered practical techniques to manage it, helping us maintain emotional balance and stay true to our values. One of the most powerful Stoic tools for dealing with anger is the practice of pausing and reflecting. When we feel anger rising, the Stoics advise us to take a step back rather than reacting immediately. This pause creates a moment of clarity, allowing us to assess the situation objectively. As Seneca, a renowned Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." By giving ourselves time to cool down, we can respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively, preserving our authenticity and emotional stability. Another key Stoic technique is to examine the root cause of our anger. Often, anger stems from unmet expectations or a sense of injustice. The Stoics encourage us to ask ourselves, is this situation truly within my control? Am I assigning more importance to it than it deserves? By questioning our assumptions, we can often realize that our anger is misplaced or exaggerated. This reflection helps us detach from the emotion and approach the situation with a calmer, more rational mindset. The Stoics also remind us that anger is often a reaction to our own perceptions, not the actions of others. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This perspective shifts the focus from blaming others to taking responsibility for our own emotional responses. When we recognize that our anger is a product of our thoughts, we gain the power to change how we feel and act. Practicing empathy is another effective way to let go of anger. The Stoics believed in understanding others' perspectives even when they wrong us. By considering the motivations or circumstances behind someone's actions, we can often find compassion instead of resentment. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does help us approach conflicts with a more open heart, reducing the intensity of our anger and fostering healthier relationships. Finally, the Stoics encourage us to channel our anger into constructive action. Instead of letting it fester or explode, we can use that energy to address the issue at hand or improve ourselves. For example, if we feel angry about an injustice, we can channel that emotion into advocating for change or supporting those affected. By transforming anger into purposeful action, we align our emotions with our values, turning a potentially destructive force into a tool for growth and authenticity. Letting go of anger is not about suppressing our emotions, but about managing them in a way that serves our higher goals. By practicing these Stoic techniques, pausing, reflecting, questioning our perceptions, and channeling our energy, we can maintain emotional balance and live more authentically. As we continue to explore the Stoic rules for living authentically, we'll see how mastering our emotions, including anger, strengthens our character and deepens our connection to the principles of wisdom, courage, and justice. Now, let's turn our attention to the 18th Stoic rule, being present in the moment. In a world filled with distractions and constant demands on our attention, the Stoic practice of mindfulness offers a powerful way to reconnect with what truly matters. Being present isn't just about paying attention, it's about fully immersing ourselves in the here and now, free from the weight of the past or the anxiety of the future. This focus on the present moment is central to living authentically, as it allows us to align our actions with our values and experience life more deeply. The Stoics believed that much of our suffering comes from dwelling on what has already happened or worrying about what might come next. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reminded himself to focus on the present, writing, "Confine yourself to the present." This simple yet profound advice encourages us to let go of regrets and fears, freeing our minds to engage fully with the task or experience at hand. By doing so, we not only reduce unnecessary stress but also open ourselves to the richness of each moment. One practical way the Stoics practiced mindfulness was through deliberate attention to their surroundings and actions. Whether it was eating a meal, walking, or engaging in conversation, they aimed to do so with full awareness. This practice helps us break free from autopilot mode, where we often go through the motions without truly experiencing life. For example, when we eat mindfully, we savor each bite, appreciating the flavors and textures, rather than rushing through the meal while distracted by thoughts or screens. This heightened awareness brings a sense of gratitude and fulfillment, grounding us in the present. Another Stoic technique for staying present is to regularly remind ourselves of the impermanence of life. The concept of memento mori, remembering that we will not live forever, serves as a powerful motivator to cherish the present. When we recognize that each moment is fleeting, we're more likely to give it our full attention and make the most of it. This doesn't mean living in fear of death, but rather using the awareness of life's brevity to inspire us to live more intentionally and authentically. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of focusing on what we can control in the present moment. While we can't change the past or predict the future, we have the power to choose how we respond to the here and now. This mindset shifts our energy from worrying about things beyond our control to taking meaningful action in the present. For instance, instead of stressing over a future presentation, we can focus on preparing thoroughly and delivering our best effort in the moment. This approach not only reduces anxiety but also enhances our performance and satisfaction. Being present also strengthens our relationships. When we give someone our full attention, listening without distraction, engaging with empathy, we show them that they matter. This level of presence fosters deeper connections and mutual understanding, which are essential for authentic living. The Stoics understood that true communication and connection happen in the present, not in the past or future. By being fully present with others, we honor their humanity and our own. Ultimately, the Stoic practice of mindfulness is about reclaiming our attention and directing it toward what truly matters. It's a reminder that life unfolds in the present, and by being fully here, we can live more authentically, joyfully, and purposefully. As we continue to explore the Stoic rules for living authentically, we'll see how this focus on the present moment ties into the broader principles of wisdom, courage, and justice, guiding us toward a more fulfilling life. Now, let's shift our focus to the 19th Stoic rule, avoiding overindulgence. In a world where excess is often celebrated, Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective on moderation. The Stoics believed that overindulgence in pleasures, whether it's food, drink, material possessions, or even entertainment, can lead us away from our true values and cloud our judgment. By practicing moderation, we not only maintain control over our desires, but also ensure that our actions align with what we genuinely value in life. The Stoics weren't against enjoying life's pleasures. Rather, they warned against letting those pleasures control us. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, often spoke about the dangers of excess. He wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This idea highlights how overindulgence can create a sense of dissatisfaction, even when we have more than enough. When we constantly seek more, we risk losing sight of what truly matters: our inner peace, relationships, and personal growth. One practical way the Stoics practiced moderation was through voluntary simplicity. They would intentionally limit their consumption of luxuries, not out of self-punishment, but to remind themselves that happiness doesn't come from external things. For example, they might choose to eat plain meals or wear simple clothing, not because they couldn't afford better, but to train themselves to find contentment in less. This practice helps us break free from the cycle of craving and overconsumption, allowing us to focus on what truly brings fulfillment. Another key aspect of avoiding overindulgence is self-awareness. The Stoics encouraged regular reflection on our desires and habits. By asking ourselves why we crave certain pleasures, we can uncover whether those desires align with our values or are simply distractions. For instance, if we find ourselves constantly scrolling through social media or binge-watching shows, we might ask, "Is this adding value to my life, or is it just a way to escape?" This kind of self-inquiry helps us make more intentional choices and avoid falling into patterns of overindulgence. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of balance. They understood that denying ourselves all pleasures could be just as harmful as overindulging in them. Instead, they advocated for a middle path, enjoying life's pleasures in moderation while staying mindful of their potential to distract or harm. For example, enjoying a delicious meal with friends can be a source of joy and connection, but overeating or obsessing over food can lead to discomfort and regret. By finding this balance, we can savor life's pleasures without letting them control us. Avoiding overindulgence also strengthens our resilience. When we're not dependent on external comforts, we're better equipped to handle life's challenges. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from mastering our desires, not from indulging them. This mindset allows us to face adversity with clarity and strength, knowing that our happiness isn't tied to material things or fleeting pleasures. It's a powerful reminder that our greatest source of fulfillment lies within us, not in the world around us. Ultimately, the Stoic practice of moderation is about aligning our actions with our values and living with intention. It's a call to resist the pull of excess and focus on what truly matters: our character, relationships, and inner peace. As we continue to explore the Stoic rules for living authentically, we'll see how this principle of moderation ties into the broader themes of wisdom, self-discipline, and virtue, guiding us toward a more meaningful and balanced life. Now, let's turn our attention to the 20th Stoic rule, taking responsibility for your actions. At the heart of Stoicism lies the belief that we are the authors of our own lives. This means that every choice we make, every word we speak, and every action we take is ours to own. The Stoics taught that personal accountability is not just a moral duty, but a pathway to living authentically and with integrity. When we take responsibility for our actions, we align ourselves with our values and demonstrate a commitment to living truthfully. The Stoics emphasized that blaming others or external circumstances for our problems only weakens our character. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This idea reminds us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. By taking ownership of our reactions and decisions, we reclaim our power and move closer to living a life of authenticity. Taking responsibility also means acknowledging our mistakes. The Stoics believed that errors are inevitable, but how we handle them defines our character. Instead of hiding from our faults or making excuses, they encouraged us to face them head-on, learn from them, and grow. For example, if we hurt someone with our words, the Stoic approach isn't to justify our behavior, but to apologize sincerely and strive to do better. This practice not only strengthens our relationships, but also deepens our sense of integrity. Another key aspect of personal accountability is understanding the consequences of our actions. The Stoics taught that every decision we make has ripple effects, not just on ourselves but on those around us. By being mindful of these consequences, we can make choices that reflect our values and contribute to the greater good. For instance, if we choose to act dishonestly in a situation, we might gain a short-term advantage, but we risk damaging our reputation and inner peace in the long run. Taking responsibility helps us stay aligned with what truly matters. The Stoics also believed that personal accountability fosters resilience. When we own our actions, we stop seeing ourselves as victims of circumstance and start seeing ourselves as capable of shaping our own lives. This mindset empowers us to face challenges with courage and determination, knowing that we have the ability to influence our outcomes. It's a powerful reminder that our happiness and success are not determined by external factors, but by how we choose to respond to them. Ultimately, taking responsibility for our actions is about living with intention and integrity. It's a practice that requires honesty, humility, and a willingness to grow. By embracing this Stoic principle, we not only build stronger relationships and a clearer sense of purpose, but also cultivate a life that is authentically our own. As we continue to explore the Stoic rules for living authentically, we'll see how this commitment to accountability ties into the broader themes of wisdom, virtue, and self-discipline, guiding us toward a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Now let's shift our focus to the 21st Stoic rule, practicing humility. In a world that often celebrates self-promotion and external achievements, Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective. The Stoics believed that humility is not about diminishing oneself, but about recognizing our place in the grand scheme of things. It's about understanding that no matter how much we achieve or how far we rise, we are still part of a larger whole, interconnected with others and the universe itself. Humility, in the Stoic sense, is a form of self-awareness. It's the ability to see ourselves clearly, acknowledging both our strengths and our limitations. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, often reminded himself in his writings that no matter how high his position, he was still human, fallible, and finite. This awareness kept him grounded and focused on what truly mattered, living virtuously and serving others. For the Stoics, humility wasn't a weakness but a strength, a way to remain authentic and aligned with their values. One of the key practices of humility in Stoicism is the recognition that our successes are not solely our own. The Stoics understood that external achievements often depend on factors beyond our control, luck, timing, or the support of others. By acknowledging this, we avoid the trap of arrogance and entitlement. Instead of taking all the credit, we cultivate gratitude for the opportunities and people that have contributed to our journey. This mindset not only keeps us humble but also deepens our connection to others. Humility also plays a crucial role in how we handle failure. The Stoics taught that setbacks and mistakes are inevitable, but they don't define us. When we approach failure with humility, we see it as an opportunity to learn and grow rather than as a blow to our ego. For example, if we fail at a task, instead of blaming others or making excuses, we can reflect on what went wrong and how we can improve. This approach not only fosters resilience but also helps us stay true to ourselves, even in the face of adversity. Another aspect of humility in Stoicism is the willingness to listen and learn from others. The Stoics believed that wisdom can come from anyone, regardless of their status or background. By remaining open to different perspectives, we expand our understanding and avoid the pitfalls of pride and close-mindedness. This practice of humility enriches our relationships and helps us grow as individuals, fostering a sense of authenticity in how we engage with the world. Ultimately, practicing humility is about embracing our humanity. It's about recognizing that we are all works in progress, constantly learning and evolving. By staying humble, we remain grounded in our values, open to growth, and connected to the world around us. This Stoic principle reminds us that true authenticity comes not from seeking external validation, but from living with integrity and a deep sense of self-awareness. As we continue to explore the Stoic rules for living authentically, we'll see how humility intertwines with other virtues like wisdom, courage, and justice, guiding us toward a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Now, let's turn our attention to the 22nd Stoic rule, valuing time above all. In a world filled with distractions and endless demands, the Stoics remind us that time is the one resource we can never get back. Unlike money, possessions, or even relationships, time is finite and irreplaceable. Once a moment passes, it's gone forever. This understanding lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy and serves as a powerful reminder to live authentically and intentionally. The Stoics believe that how we spend our time reflects our true priorities. If we claim to value wisdom, virtue, or meaningful relationships, but spend our days chasing fleeting pleasures or worrying about trivial matters, we're living out of alignment with our stated values. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, famously wrote that life is long enough if we use it well. He argued that much of what we call living is actually wasted time, time spent on things that don't truly matter or bring us closer to our goals. To live authentically, the Stoics encourage us to treat time as our most valuable asset. This means being deliberate about how we spend each day. It's about asking ourselves whether our actions align with our deeper purpose and values. For example, instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media or getting caught up in gossip, we can choose to invest our time in activities that nurture our growth, strengthen our relationships, or contribute to the greater good. This conscious approach to time helps us live with greater intention and authenticity. Another key aspect of valuing time is recognizing its fleeting nature. The Stoics often reflected on the concept of memento mori, remembering that we will die. While this might sound morbid, it's actually a profound tool for living authentically. By keeping the inevitability of death in mind, we're reminded to make the most of the time we have. It's a call to stop procrastinating, to stop putting off the things that truly matter, and to start living fully in the present moment. This awareness can help us let go of petty concerns and focus on what's truly important. Valuing time also means being mindful of how we interact with others. The Stoics taught that every moment we spend with someone is a gift, and we should treat it as such. Whether it's a conversation with a loved one or a chance encounter with a stranger, these moments are opportunities to connect, learn, and grow. By being fully present and engaged, we not only enrich our own lives but also honor the time we share with others. This practice fosters deeper, more authentic relationships and helps us live with greater gratitude and purpose. Ultimately, the Stoic emphasis on valuing time is a call to live with clarity and intention. It's about recognizing that every moment is an opportunity to align our actions with our values, to grow as individuals, and to contribute to the world around us. By treating time as the precious resource it is, we can break free from the distractions and pressures of modern life and focus on what truly matters. This Stoic principle reminds us that authentic living isn't about how much time we have, but how we choose to use it. As we continue to explore the Stoic rules for living authentically, we'll see how this awareness of time intertwines with other virtues, guiding us toward a life of meaning and fulfillment. Now, let's shift our focus to the 23rd Stoic rule, learning from every experience. The Stoics believe that life is a continuous teacher, offering lessons in every moment, whether through success or failure, joy or hardship. This mindset transforms every event into an opportunity for growth. helping us live more authentically by embracing the full spectrum of life's experiences. At the heart of this practice is the idea that nothing happens to us by chance. Instead, every situation, no matter how challenging or unexpected, carries a lesson if we're willing to look for it. The Stoics taught that even the most difficult circumstances can be reframed as opportunities to develop resilience, wisdom, and character. For example, a setback at work might reveal areas where we need to improve, while a personal conflict could teach us about patience and understanding. By approaching life with this perspective, we stop seeing events as purely good or bad and start viewing them as stepping stones on the path to becoming our best selves. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, often reflected on this principle in his writings. He reminded himself that obstacles are not hindrances but opportunities to practice virtue. When faced with adversity, he asked himself, "What is this teaching me?" This simple yet profound question shifts our focus from frustration or disappointment to growth and self-improvement. It's a reminder that even the most challenging experiences can contribute to our development if we approach them with the right mindset. Learning from every experience also requires humility and self-awareness. It means acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and that there's always room to grow. The Stoics encouraged us to reflect on our actions and decisions regularly, asking ourselves what we've learned and how we can apply those lessons moving forward. This practice of self-reflection helps us stay aligned with our values and ensures that we're continually evolving as individuals. Another key aspect of this rule is the ability to find meaning in even the smallest moments. The Stoics believed that every interaction, every decision, and every experience has the potential to teach us something valuable. Whether it's a conversation with a friend, a mistake at work, or a quiet moment of solitude, these experiences shape who we are and how we see the world. By paying attention to these moments and reflecting on their significance, we can uncover deeper insights about ourselves and our place in the world. Ultimately, the Stoic practice of learning from every experience is about embracing life as a journey of continuous growth. It's about recognizing that every event, no matter how big or small, contributes to our development and helps us live more authentically. By adopting this mindset, we can navigate life's ups and downs with greater resilience and purpose, knowing that each experience brings us closer to becoming the person we aspire to be. As we move forward, we'll explore how this principle connects with other Stoic rules, further guiding us toward a life of authenticity and fulfillment. Now, let's turn our attention to the 24th Stoic rule, avoiding envy. In a world where social media and constant comparisons can easily lead us astray, Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to the toxic habit of envy. The Stoics believed that comparing ourselves to others is not only unproductive but also deeply harmful to our sense of authenticity and inner peace. Instead, they encouraged us to focus on our own path, our own progress, and our own values. At its core, envy arises when we measure our worth against someone else's achievements, possessions, or status. The Stoics, however, taught that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external validation or comparison. They reminded us that everyone's journey is unique, and what matters most is how we live in alignment with our own principles. By shifting our focus inward, we can cultivate a sense of contentment and authenticity that isn't swayed by the successes or failures of others. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the futility of envy. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that our mindset shapes our experience of life. When we dwell on what others have or achieve, we rob ourselves of the joy and satisfaction that come from appreciating our own progress. Instead of envying others, the Stoics urged us to celebrate their successes while staying committed to our own growth. One practical way to avoid envy is to practice gratitude. By focusing on what we already have and the progress we've made, we can shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance. The Stoics believed that gratitude is a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace and authenticity. When we appreciate our own journey, we're less likely to feel threatened or diminished by the achievements of others. Another key aspect of this rule is the recognition that external success doesn't equate to true happiness. The Stoics emphasize that wealth, fame, and status are indifferent. They don't inherently make someone virtuous or fulfilled. What truly matters is how we live our lives, the choices we make, and the values we uphold. By focusing on these internal qualities, we can free ourselves from the trap of envy and live more authentically. Epictetus, another influential Stoic philosopher, offered a practical exercise to combat envy. He advised his students to remind themselves that everyone has their own struggles and challenges, even if they aren't visible on the surface. This perspective helps us see others with empathy rather than jealousy, fostering a sense of connection and humility. It's a reminder that no one's life is perfect, and we all have our own battles to fight. Ultimately, avoiding envy is about reclaiming our focus and energy for what truly matters, our own growth, values, and authenticity. By letting go of comparisons, we can live more freely and fully, embracing our unique journey with confidence and purpose. As we continue exploring these Stoic rules, we'll see how this principle connects with others, guiding us toward a life of greater fulfillment and inner harmony. Now let's explore the 25th Stoic rule, speaking with purpose. In a world filled with noise and endless chatter, the Stoics placed great importance on the power of thoughtful communication. They believed that words carry weight and that how we speak reflects our inner character. To live authentically, we must choose our words carefully, ensuring they align with our values and contribute meaningfully to our interactions. The Stoics taught that speaking with purpose begins with self-awareness. Before we speak, we should ask ourselves whether our words are true, necessary, and kind. This simple yet profound practice helps us avoid idle gossip, harmful criticism, or empty talk. Instead, it encourages us to communicate in ways that build understanding, foster connection, and reflect our commitment to virtue. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of mindful speech. He reminded himself to avoid unnecessary words and to focus on what truly matters. In his meditations, he wrote, "Let your speech be guided by reason and your actions by wisdom." This advice underscores the Stoic belief that our words should serve a higher purpose, whether it's to educate, inspire, or bring clarity to a situation. By aligning our speech with reason, we not only live more authentically but also create a positive impact on those around us. Epictetus, too, emphasized the value of thoughtful communication. He advised his students to speak only when they had something meaningful to contribute and to remain silent otherwise. This practice, he believed, helps us avoid the pitfalls of impulsive or careless speech. It also cultivates a sense of discipline and respect for the power of language. When we speak with intention, we demonstrate self-control and integrity, qualities that are central to Stoic philosophy. One practical way to embody this rule is to practice active listening. The Stoics understood that effective communication isn't just about speaking, it's also about listening with an open mind and heart. By truly hearing others, we can respond with empathy and insight, fostering deeper connections and mutual understanding. This approach not only enriches our relationships but also helps us stay true to our values in every conversation. Another key aspect of speaking with purpose is avoiding exaggeration or dishonesty. The Stoics believed that truthfulness is essential to living authentically. When we exaggerate or distort the truth, we undermine our credibility and integrity. Instead, they encouraged us to speak plainly and honestly, even when it's difficult. This commitment to truth strengthens our character and builds trust with others. Ultimately, speaking with purpose is about aligning our words with our deepest values. It's a reminder that every conversation is an opportunity to express our authenticity and contribute to the well-being of those around us. By choosing our words thoughtfully, we not only honor the Stoic principles of wisdom and virtue, but also create a life of greater meaning and connection. As we move forward, we'll see how this rule ties into the broader Stoic framework, guiding us toward a more intentional and fulfilling way of living. Now, let's turn our attention to the 26th Stoic rule, being content with what you have. In a world that constantly pushes us to want more possessions, more success, more recognition, the Stoics offer a refreshing counterpoint. They teach us that true contentment doesn't come from external achievements or material wealth, but from cultivating an inner sense of gratitude and satisfaction with what we already possess. This principle is deeply rooted in the Stoic belief that happiness is a state of mind, not a result of circumstances. Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the importance of contentment. He argued that the endless pursuit of more only leads to dissatisfaction and restlessness. In his letters, he often reminded his readers that wealth and status are fleeting, and that clinging to them only distracts us from what truly matters. Instead, he encouraged us to focus on the present moment and appreciate the simple joys of life. It is not the man who has too little, Seneca wrote, but the man who craves more who is poor. This powerful statement challenges us to rethink our relationship with desire and to find fulfillment in what we already have. The Stoics believed that contentment begins with shifting our perspective. Rather than focusing on what we lack, we should train ourselves to see the abundance that already exists in our lives. This doesn't mean we should stop striving for improvement or setting goals. Instead, it means we should approach life with a sense of gratitude and acceptance, recognizing that our happiness isn't dependent on external conditions. By practicing this mindset, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of wanting and learn to find peace in the present. One practical way to cultivate contentment is through daily reflection. Take a few moments each day to acknowledge the things you're grateful for, whether it's your health, your relationships, or even the small pleasures of life. This simple practice helps us develop a deeper appreciation for what we have and shifts our focus away from what we feel is missing. Seneca often emphasized the value of gratitude, noting that it not only brings joy but also strengthens our resilience in the face of challenges. Another key aspect of Stoic contentment is learning to distinguish between needs and wants. The Stoics taught that our basic needs, food, shelter, companionship, are relatively simple to meet. It's our endless desires for more that create dissatisfaction. By focusing on what we truly need and letting go of unnecessary wants, we can live more simply and authentically. This doesn't mean living in deprivation, but rather finding joy in sufficiency and recognizing that excess often brings more burden than happiness. Ultimately, being content with what you have is about embracing the present moment and finding fulfillment within yourself. It's a reminder that happiness isn't something to be chased or acquired. It's something to be cultivated through gratitude, perspective, and self-awareness. As Seneca wisely observed, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. By adopting this Stoic practice, we can live more authentically, free from the constant pull of desire, and find lasting peace in the here and now. Next, we'll explore how this principle connects to the broader Stoic framework, guiding us toward a life of greater meaning and fulfillment. Now, let's shift our focus to the 27th Stoic rule, facing fear with courage. Fear is a universal human experience, something we all encounter at various points in our lives. Whether it's fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown, these emotions can hold us back from living authentically and pursuing our true potential. The Stoics, however, offer a powerful perspective on fear, one that doesn't deny its existence, but instead teaches us how to confront it head-on with courage and resilience. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the idea that fear often stems from our attachment to outcomes beyond our control. We fear what might happen, what others might think, or how we might fail. But the Stoics remind us that these external factors are not within our power to dictate. What we can control, however, is how we respond to fear. By choosing to face our fears with courage, we reclaim our agency and transform fear from a paralyzing force into an opportunity for growth. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who endured slavery and hardship, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle applies directly to fear. When we confront our fears, we're not just overcoming a momentary challenge, we're building the mental and emotional strength to handle future obstacles with greater confidence. Each act of courage, no matter how small, reinforces our ability to live authentically, guided by our values rather than our anxieties. One practical Stoic technique for facing fear is to break it down into smaller, more manageable parts. Often, fear feels overwhelming because we focus on the worst-case scenario or the enormity of the challenge. But by dissecting the fear, asking ourselves what exactly we're afraid of and why, we can approach it with clarity and purpose. This process not only reduces the intensity of the fear, but also helps us identify actionable steps to move forward. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very thing we fear can become the path to our growth. Another key Stoic practice is to visualize the worst-case scenario and prepare ourselves mentally for it. This exercise, known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, might sound counterintuitive, but it's incredibly effective. By imagining the worst that could happen and accepting it as a possibility, we strip fear of its power. We realize that even if the worst comes to pass, we have the inner resources to handle it. This mindset shift allows us to approach challenges with a sense of calm and determination, rather than being driven by anxiety. Courage, in the Stoic sense, isn't about the absence of fear, it's about acting in spite of it. It's about recognizing that fear is a natural part of life, but refusing to let it dictate our choices. When we face our fears, we not only grow stronger, but also align more closely with our authentic selves. We stop living in reaction to external pressures and start living in alignment with our deepest values and aspirations. Ultimately, the Stoic approach to fear is about empowerment. It's about understanding that fear, while uncomfortable, is not an enemy to be avoided but a teacher to be embraced. By confronting our fears with courage, we unlock new levels of personal growth and authenticity. As Seneca wisely noted, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. In embracing this Stoic rule, we learn to live boldly, authentically, and with unwavering resolve. Next, we'll explore how this courage connects to the broader Stoic framework, guiding us toward a life of greater meaning and fulfillment. Now, let's turn our attention to the 28th Stoic rule, practicing empathy. While Stoicism is often associated with self-discipline and inner resilience, it also places a profound emphasis on understanding and connecting with others. Empathy, the ability to see the world through someone else's eyes, is not just a modern concept, it's deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that empathy is essential for fostering authentic relationships and living in harmony with others. At its core, empathy is about recognizing the shared humanity that binds us all. The Stoics taught that every person is part of a larger, interconnected whole, and understanding this interconnectedness is key to living authentically. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the importance of considering others' perspectives. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." This passage highlights the Stoic belief that empathy begins with recognizing that others, like us, are shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and limitations. Practicing empathy doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior or ignoring boundaries. Instead, it's about approaching others with compassion and understanding, even when their actions are difficult to comprehend. The Stoics believed that by striving to understand others, we cultivate patience, kindness, and a deeper sense of connection. This, in turn, helps us build relationships that are grounded in authenticity rather than superficiality. One practical way to practice empathy, as the Stoics suggested, is to pause and reflect before reacting to someone else's behavior. When someone acts in a way that frustrates or upsets us, it's easy to jump to conclusions or respond with anger. But the Stoics encourage us to take a step back and ask ourselves, what might this person be experiencing? What challenges or fears could be influencing their actions? By shifting our perspective, we not only diffuse potential conflicts but also create space for meaningful dialogue and understanding. Another Stoic technique for cultivating empathy is to remind ourselves of our shared vulnerabilities. The Stoics believed that no one is immune to suffering, and recognizing this commonality can help us approach others with greater humility and compassion. As Epictetus noted, when you see someone weeping in grief, don't let the outward appearance deceive you. Instead, remember that what troubles them is their own judgment about what has happened. This insight reminds us that everyone carries their own burdens, and empathy allows us to meet them where they are without judgment. Empathy also plays a crucial role in fostering authentic relationships. When we take the time to truly understand others, we create a foundation of trust and mutual respect. This doesn't mean we have to agree with everyone or abandon our own values. Rather, it's about acknowledging the humanity in others and striving to connect on a deeper level. In doing so, we not only enrich our relationships but also align more closely with the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with the world around us. Ultimately, practicing empathy is about recognizing that we are all part of the same human experience. By embracing this Stoic rule, we learn to approach others with kindness, patience, and understanding, fostering relationships that are both meaningful and authentic. As Seneca wisely observed, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. In cultivating empathy, we not only strengthen our connections with others, but also deepen our own sense of purpose and fulfillment. Next, we'll explore how simplifying our lives can further enhance our ability to live authentically, guided by Stoic principles. Now, let's shift our focus to the 29th Stoic rule, simplifying your life. In a world filled with endless distractions and constant demands, Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective on how to live with clarity and purpose. The Stoics believed that a minimalist lifestyle free from unnecessary clutter and excess is essential for fostering authenticity and inner peace. By stripping away what doesn't truly matter, we create space for what does: our values, relationships, and personal growth. At the heart of this rule is the idea that less is often more. The Stoics taught that material possessions, social status, and external achievements are ultimately indifferent. They don't contribute to our true happiness or fulfillment. Instead, they can become sources of stress, distraction, and even dissatisfaction. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, famously wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This insight reminds us that true wealth lies not in what we own, but in our ability to live contentedly with what we have. Simplifying your life doesn't mean giving up everything or living in austerity. Rather, it's about intentionally choosing what adds value to your life and letting go of what doesn't. This could mean decluttering your physical space, reducing your commitments, or even limiting your exposure to digital distractions. The goal is to create an environment that supports your well-being and aligns with your values. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. One practical way to embrace this Stoic principle is to regularly evaluate your priorities. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What brings me joy and fulfillment? By identifying these core values, you can make intentional choices about how you spend your time, energy, and resources. This process of simplification helps you focus on what's meaningful rather than being pulled in countless directions by external pressures. Another key aspect of simplifying your life is learning to say no. The Stoics understood that overcommitting ourselves, whether to social obligations, work projects, or material pursuits, can lead to burnout and a sense of emptiness. By setting boundaries and prioritizing what aligns with your values, you create a life that feels more authentic and manageable. As Epictetus advised, wealth consists not in having great possessions but in having few wants. This mindset encourages us to find contentment in simplicity rather than constantly chasing more. Simplifying your life also involves cultivating gratitude for what you already have. The Stoics believed that appreciating the present moment and the blessings in your life is a powerful antidote to the desire for more. By focusing on what's enough rather than what's lacking, you cultivate a sense of abundance and peace. This shift in perspective not only reduces stress but also deepens your connection to the present moment, allowing you to live more authentically. Ultimately, simplifying your life is about creating space for what truly matters. By letting go of excess, whether it's physical clutter, unnecessary commitments, or the constant pursuit of more, you free yourself to live in alignment with your values and priorities. This Stoic practice not only fosters authenticity but also brings a sense of clarity and calm to your daily life. As Seneca wisely noted, the greatest wealth is a poverty of desires. By embracing simplicity, you take a powerful step toward living a life of purpose, meaning, and inner peace. Next, we'll explore the final Stoic rule, living with integrity, and how it ties together all the principles we've discussed. Now, as we reach the final Stoic rule, let's bring everything together with a focus on living with integrity. Integrity is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's about aligning your actions with your deepest values and principles, ensuring that your life reflects who you truly are. The Stoics believed that authenticity isn't just about thinking the right thoughts. It's about living them out in every decision, every interaction, and every moment. At its core, living with integrity means being consistent. It's about ensuring that your words, actions, and intentions are in harmony. The Stoics taught that when we act in ways that contradict our values, we create inner conflict and distance ourselves from our true selves. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be one." This powerful statement reminds us that integrity isn't something we debate, it's something we practice daily. One of the key ways to live with integrity is to hold yourself accountable. The Stoics emphasized the importance of self-reflection, regularly examining whether your actions align with your principles. This isn't about perfection but about progress. It's about recognizing when you fall short and making a conscious effort to course correct. As Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This simple yet profound guidance encourages us to bridge the gap between intention and action. Another essential aspect of integrity is honesty, not just with others but with yourself. The Stoics believed that self-deception is one of the greatest barriers to authenticity. By being truthful about your strengths, weaknesses, and motivations, you can make decisions that truly reflect your values. Seneca often spoke about the importance of self-awareness, noting, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Living with integrity requires the courage to face the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Living with integrity also means standing firm in your principles, even when it's challenging. The Stoics understood that life will test us whether through adversity, temptation, or external pressures, but they believed that staying true to your values, even in difficult moments, is what defines your character. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This mindset empowers us to act with integrity no matter the circumstances. Finally, living with integrity is about creating a life of meaning and purpose. When your actions align with your values, you experience a deep sense of fulfillment and inner peace. The Stoics taught that this alignment is the essence of a good life, one lived authentically and with intention. As Seneca wisely noted, a good character is the only guarantee of everlasting, carefree happiness. By living with integrity, you not only honor yourself but also inspire those around you to do the same. As we conclude our exploration of the 30 Stoic rules for living authentically, remember that these principles are not just ideas to ponder, they are tools to live by. Each rule, from focusing on what you can control to living with integrity, offers a pathway to a more meaningful and authentic life. By embracing these teachings, you can navigate the complexities of modern life with clarity, resilience, and purpose. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Stoic wisdom. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights on living a life of authenticity and meaning. Until next time, take care and live well. As we wrap up our journey through the 30 Stoic rules for living authentically, let's take a moment to reflect on the timeless wisdom we've explored. From focusing on what you can control to embracing challenges as opportunities, each rule offers a practical guide to navigating life with clarity, resilience, and purpose. These principles remind us that authenticity isn't just a goal, it's a daily practice, a way of living that aligns our actions with our deepest values. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes from within, and their teachings provide a roadmap for cultivating inner peace and strength, no matter what life throws our way. Whether it's practicing gratitude, detaching from external outcomes, or living with integrity, these rules are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. They invite us to step back from the noise of modern life and reconnect with what truly matters. Now it's your turn to take these lessons and make them your own. Start small, choose one rule that resonates with you and apply it in your daily life. Reflect on how it shapes your thoughts, decisions, and interactions. Over time, you'll find that these principles become second nature, guiding you toward a more authentic and meaningful existence. If this video has inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights on living a life of purpose and authenticity. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What Stoic rule has had the biggest impact on you? Let's continue this conversation and support each other on the path to living well. Until next time, take care and remember, the journey to authenticity begins with a single step.